Reawakening. Christmas Eve to New Year's Eve can be beautiful times to eat, drink, and be merry with family and friends. But let's be honest, there's always that one toxic person who doesn't leave your home fast enough. In our final 2016 episode of Reawakening, dream interpreter Yvonne Ryba examines a client's dream about her home being invaded by the ultimate irritant, actual bugs. What can such an unmerry dream tell us about our waking life? Let's check in with spiritual life coach and dream analyst Yvonne Ryba and find out. Hi there, Yvonne. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Chris.
Oh, wonderful. What do you have for us this time in the dream realm?
Well, I've had quite a few dreams given to me recently, and I have one of my clients who had a series of dreams, but I'm just going to give you one of them.
Okay.
Because they do follow a sort of a pattern of what's going on in her life. And this particular dream has some of the very basic symbols that I've talked about in the past, and we'll go into it again, of course, in the dream. So I'm going to tell you what it is, and then we'll discuss it.
Perfect.
So I'm going to change the names of people. Not that anybody would know who they are anyway, but just to be very, very confidential here.
Sure.
Here's the dream. I was in a big house with my husband. My friends, Lulu and Susan, came over to see me. I looked up and I saw the AC vent and some wasps flying around. And then suddenly I saw hundreds of roaches. I felt that somebody else was in the house. I went and opened one of the bedrooms, and I saw two really fat women, and they had two little kids who were fat in the room. And I started crying and screaming, "Get out of my house! What are you doing in my house?" I knew someone was there. I was just always gone and away from the house, and I'd never looked around it very much. So I went to my husband and Lulu and Susan and told them someone was living in my house. I then went and opened another bedroom, and there were three men in one king-size bed and two women in the other bed. I again started yelling, screaming, and crying and saying, "What are you all doing in my house?" I went to another bedroom, and there were two sophisticated ladies who were snobs to me, and they had on beautiful clothes. I asked them why they were in my house, and they just looked at me. And then she woke up. So it's kind of a very disturbing, aggravating dream.
Yeah. The word that comes to mind is infestation.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. The place is infested with the wasps, the roaches, the people. You know, I mean, it's like everywhere she went, her space was invaded.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. This is what I came up with, and then I'll give you her feedback on this.
Great.
So first of all, we get these wasps and roaches. All right, well, they are bugs. And the symbology here is bugs. That's it. What is bugging you?
Very simply.
And that's what I asked. What is bugging you? Because that's the way that our dream world works. It takes things and it makes puns or wordplay out of them. And that's exactly what wasp is, a stinging thing.
Yeah.
Right? Roaches are horrible, you know, like you said, infestations. Not very nice, dirty. We see one and we think, oh my God, I've got to get that out of the house.
Yes.
For if I know where I am, I'll be invaded with hundreds of them. All the people that she mentions in the dream, and I say to her, are so many different kinds of people invading your space. You need more space and time to be with your husband, friends, and just yourself. Wasps sting and can represent stinging remarks or actions that somebody has done to you. And roaches are invaders, and they revolt us. So someone in your life, or more than one, is doing this to you, and you need to set boundaries. Your husband and friends are not aware of this yet, and you need their help. So that was my short explanation, and I waited for her to give me some feedback, which she did. And she said that the job that she has, and she just had got married again, I think it was last year, to this really great guy, and they're very, very happy. And the two women, Lulu and Susan, as I've called them, are her best friends in the whole wide world. So these are very supportive figures, they're downstairs in the house, right?
Yeah.
So she said the job that she has is very unsatisfactory. She doesn't like the people. The people are obviously not nice to her. Some people say nasty things. There's your what. Some people just ignore her completely, and there are snobs, and those are the two sophisticated ladies in the beautiful clothes who look down at her. Those should make her feel inferior. She's a bit of an outdoors woman, and so is her new husband. In fact, I think they have a ranch as well as a home in the city. And they go to this ranch and they ride horses and they do their thing. So she does love the open spaces. And here she is at work, back when she's through the week. Her space is being totally invaded by people. And we have fat people, we have men. And I think it's interesting that she said there were 3 men in one king-size bed.
King size.
Yeah, masculine, all right? Not really referring to sex in any way. None of the people in the bedrooms were engaged in having sex. They were just there, taking up space.
Right.
And give her, a bad time.
In the most intimate rooms of her house.
Yes.
Regardless of what that word intimate means, that's the ultimate sort of invasion of space.
It is.
Yeah.
We go to bed at night, and it's like our safe space.
Right.
We go, might read, watch TV or something, and then we go to sleep. We might sleep alone or with our husband or spouse or whoever, or partner, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's our quiet, special, private time. And when somebody else is in your bedroom, that's like the worst place in the world for them to be.
Right.
So here a whole house is invaded in the bedroom. So she's like, oh my goodness, I just need to have... But the bedroom here is not necessarily about sex. Bedrooms are sexual encounter places, yes. But they are, like I said, the place where you are private.
Right.
Where you are quiet, you're restful, and so on. But her restful space has been taken up by people who have no boundaries. And it may be some friends, or they're not really friends, but people who are coming over to perhaps the ranch, and because they like the idea of going into the country at the weekend, and they need to be told, well, you're going to have to make appointments almost. Don't be just dropping in here.
Sure.
This is our special quiet place. This is our time together. Now, when you've just been married a short time, you need that. Well, you need it all the time, but especially when you're first getting used to each other.
Sure.
Right, so that was the meaning of the dream. And so it's up to her now. And she was very nice, as a matter of fact. She said she told her 2 girlfriends the dream and what I had written, and they said, wow, that is so true, because she'd been complaining to them about people invading her space and being nasty to her and so on, and wishing that she'd get out of this job. And she's hoping in the new year to either start her own business or move from where she is to somewhere else in the workforce.
Right.
She has a very good job. I mean, she's a very bright, smart, extrovert woman. She's not a quiet woman, and she meets people. She gets on with them. She's very friendly. She's one of those people that loves to explain things and talk, and she's a very attractive woman. So, this is bugging her, this whole scenario. So we see what happens next.
Yeah, wow. So another thing that popped into mind is people that have stressful work situations, jobs, they tend to bring their work home with them. So perhaps there is just a way of her mentally separating the two. You don't want to bring those things into your private areas, So if she can change her relationships and also compartmentalize, keep those people out of your house,
Well, that's exactly right. You've probably hit on something that you could look at and work on.
Yeah.
That we do that. We do allow people to take over sometimes. And
boy, we sure do.
Yes, she needs to draw the line. In fact, most of us need to do that.
Yes.
Most of our complaints in life is that somebody else is in control of part of our lives. Well, we can't help that. We have bosses.
Right.
There are CEOs, there are all these things going on. But there are parts of our lives where we're in control, totally. And then somebody comes and invades your space in your restful time when you're with your husband and your friends and so on.
Yes.
That is sickening. So she may be getting phone calls at home about her work, or somebody is bugging her that way. I'll have to ask her about that.
Yeah, and you said there's another dream or 2 coming from her?
Oh, yes. I've got other dreams from her, and they come in sort of like little, it's like a series, I mean, got one that she had, the one here is 30th of July of this year. The next one is the next day, the 1st of August. The one before that one, she had one 3 days before the dream I just told you about she gave me. So, yeah, I've got lots of dreams from her. So I can give you, probably have some more by the time we talk again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll hear what happened next.
Right around the first of the year. That would be beautiful. Good stuff, Yvonne. I mean, I think we can all relate to at least parts of these dreams. It is disturbing when you have a dream where people are in your private space. Get out of my house.
And that's the problem with modern day living, is that we don't have enough space and time for ourselves.
Right.
And from the important things that matter to us, like our relationships with our loved ones. You know, it's important to eat together.
Yes.
You know, and my husband, who passed away last year,
Yeah.
I always tried to, when he came in from work, he was an attorney and he had a busy schedule, but we tried to eat together. I'd cook, make a meal, and then a couple of times a week we'd go out to eat at least. But we did it together because that was our alone time together.
That's right.
And I used to get very irritated if people phoned me during that time, and I'd say, "Okay, I'll call you back later." I would not have a conversation while we had our food. You know, some people would, but no, that was our, what happened today? You know, give me the story of what went on, and I'd tell him mine and so on. And that was our alone time. And you need that because
Yes.
that's how relationships sort of gradually erode if you don't.
That's right. You have to know where and when to draw, like you said, that line in those parameters and those boundaries, or your whole life will just be overrun with things and people that bug you. Go back to the
Well,
bugs.
that's true.
Yeah.
You said, Berkeley, you're right. I often mention that I'm in science of mind, religious science, what we call places, centers for spiritual living. We don't call them churches, we call them centers for spiritual living. And one of the big things is that you focus on what you want in your life.
Right.
And then you work towards bringing it into being, but you have to focus on it. Well, people don't focus on what they really want. They're so busy whipping here, there, and everywhere, trying to keep going on this wheel, that, you know, like the gerbil
Sure.
is in a wheel all the time. We have to remember that we have to create space for ourselves so that what we really want, which is love and to be loved and to be successful in something we enjoy doing. We can be successful at working hard, but we might hate it. Well, who wants to spend their life doing something that they hate
No.
so that they can buy more stuff?
That's right.
You need to be able to enjoy life. That's part of what the focus is. Life should be, it can't be joyful all the time. There are times when, things are going to go wrong, but
Yeah.
if you have a positive attitude, you get through a lot of stuff that you wouldn't get through so quickly. Anyway, that's my take on it.
Good stuff, Yvonne. And building on that a bit, if you have those sort of toxic relationships at work or wherever, you don't want to sort of bring those home with you, literally or figuratively. You don't want those things to have a permanent residence in your mind because they will just proliferate up there. You've got to focus on the positive to attract the good stuff. I think that's always your message here.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, I can't wait to hear what's next from your dreamer, and happy holidays, Yvonne, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Bye-bye.
Reawakening with Chris Mann and Yvonne Ryba is a Rising Action Media production. Copyright 2016 by Chris Mann.